Welcome one and all. Step right up and get your tickets for another moment in gaming history.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, or if you're new here, welcome officially to the channel. This is a series where I go into various different moments in video game history, and today, well, let's say I found myself curious about racing again. I know, right? For someone who doesn't play these kinds of games, I talk an awful lot about them, you say. And, well, you're not wrong. Now, you guys can keep me honest, but we've talked about the first racing game, the first vehicle combat game, but what I don't think we've talked about is the first racing simulation game. Well, let's talk about what distinguishes this from other racing types, go into the earliest known one, and then go into how they became more mainstay. So, if you have a moment, sit back and hang out a while as we go into racing simulators. Now, the first thing many of you may have in your mind is what makes a racing sim different than any other racer, while others of you are actually wondering why I'm posing such a silly question. And you're both right in your own way, to be fair. For those who know the difference, it actually couldn't be more obvious. For those of us like me who say look at Forza Horizon and Forza Motorsport, we see shiny cars, tracks, gear changing, and it just all looks the same. The difference actually comes down to the gameplay, you see. A game like Forza Horizon, while more realistic, is still more simple to control and drive, much like, say, Project Gotham Racing of old, or a more current example, Mario Kart, which no one would confuse with a racing simulator, at least I hope not. The idea is that a simulator game, like most simulator games, will try to reproduce the experience of driving a high-end car as much as possible. The temperature of the track, rain, tires, wear on the tires, your spoiler, and a dozen other factors can have an effect on your driving experience. You also often start with lower-end cars in these as well, earning your way through the ranks much like you may have to do with a career racer, building your experience and your car as you go along, and purchasing new cars to add to your stock of racing cars. Now, I, like most people I think, associate this game type with, well, Gran Turismo. You say sim racer, and that's the first thing that comes to my mind. Forza Motorsport is another popular entry in this line of games, but this actually goes back way further than these games, though they weren't quite as realistic. One example is Checkered Flag. No, not this one. This one, yes. This is the one for the ZX Spectrum. For those of you who are not from across the pond, you might be forgiven for having absolutely no freaking clue that this existed in the slightest. This game allowed you to pick from multiple cars, two of which were manual and one of which was automatic. You would then have to dodge stage hazards like oil, broken glass. You also had to watch your fuel and avoid engine overheating. This game even had pit stops that would allow you to stop and repair and take on extra fuel. All in all, for 1983, this is straight up amazing. These games would continue to advance with Indianapolis 500, the simulation. This game let you look over the temp of your tires, you had to manage your fuel, oil, engine temperature, the works. This was a very advanced game for its day, back in 1989 at least. Keep in mind, the PlayStation and Xbox didn't exist yet. Games like Gran Turismo wouldn't show up till 1997, and the first Forza Motorsport wouldn't even show up till like 2005. I think it's actually safe to say that early games like this really did need something more like a PC interface to power and run them appropriately in the era that they started out in. However, they wouldn't really gain a ton of traction and popularity until the console era. Now, if you do have a console, they often now have comparable specs to many PCs, so these kinds of distinctions aren't really necessary anymore, obviously. However, I find it interesting to go back to see where all this actually started out. However, that's enough of me. What do you guys think of this one? Do you think racing sims like this? Do you like them? And which ones do you play? Did any of you ever play either of these? And if so, which ones? Let me know in the comments. For now though, thank you so much for stopping by and spending part of your day with me. If I can ask you for one more favor, please leave this video a like. And if you haven't, consider following the channel. That helps me out a ton. Until next time though, have a great rest of your day. And until we meet again, happy gaming.